This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners. The date is November 15th, 2016. The time is 9:05. Roll call.
Let the record reflect Commissioners Ibarra, Glacier, Nenberg, and Hara are present, and we have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. Flag salute, Members House. So we start with Commissioner comments.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say that I'm very, very excited. We are working with Chief Bradawi, and today starts the first ever dispatch training in domestic violence. It starts today, and we have another workshop tomorrow as well. We have and we're working on training for the entire department as well. So this is something that's first time. We have over 48,000 calls, and these are the most dangerous calls for LAPD. So obviously they're likely some of the most dangerous calls for LAFD. So it's fantastic that we'll be able to identify, and everyone's going to be able to be trained on how to deal. Thank you. Deal with it. Thank you.
A lot of things have happened since the last commission meeting. Actually, the day after that commission meeting, I had the opportunity to visit the Metro Call Center, Dispatch Center with the Strategic Planning Committee of the Venice Family Clinic, and it was a great visit. They were really very impressed with the fire department and the way that we do the dispatches. The day after that, actually, the Great Shakeout at Dearborn Elementary, and Chief Richmond was there, and that was a phenomenal event, I thought. My Safe LA played an important part in that, obviously. And then the week after that, actually, the E Awards at the Odyssey Restaurant, which were actually rescheduled after the shooting of the sheriff, Steve Owens, where they had the memorial event at the Odyssey. So that was a great event, as usual, and again, I'm amazed at the great work that our firefighters do. Chief Castro did a great job of synopsizing some phenomenal biographies of a lot of our firefighters. On the 5th of November, I attended the Metro Youth Academy graduation event, and Chief Rideout was there with me, and that was, again, a great event. Unfortunately, I missed the two graduation events of our firefighters because of conflict of schedules and what have you, but I did attend a promotional event just this past week, and as usual, it's great event to see how many of our firefighters are advancing through the ranks.
Yes, I was able to attend the graduation. It was a really nice event. Great to see our ranks continue to increase, and as usual, our drill tower staff did a great job. It was shockingly warm for being in the harbor, but in November. Also, I was also pleased to be at the promotions ceremony, and congratulations to all who were promoted. It's I think we've most of us here have been here 3 years. Some of us a little less, but in the 3 years time, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of firefighters, and it's great to be able to see them promoting through the ranks and seeing familiar faces up there. Even if they don't always remember me, but I remember them, which is a change. I also want to thank Fire Station 34 for hosting me for a ride out the other week. And then if you'll just indulge me for some a little extra time. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that is part of the reason why I am so honored to serve on this commission, and that is I was able to attend the retirement breakfast for my uncle, Battalion Chief John Potter. I think a lot of people know that I have some family on the department, but some of you may not. But Uncle John, as he's known to me, Chief Potter, as he's known to everybody else, came into service in 1980, in August 1980. And I remember as a 5-year-old, very distinctly, everything about the day when he graduated. I wasn't there, but I remember as my mom, his sister, left the house and said, "I'm going to go watch your Uncle Johnny jump out of a tower." And that really stuck with me. And I said, yeah, I remember asking lots of questions and her explaining that in order to graduate, you have to jump out of a tower into a net, and then not everybody gets out. Not everybody's able to do it, but he's going to do it, and I'm going to go watch him do it now. And I remember when she came back, and I said, "Did he jump out of the tower?" And he said, "Yes, he jumped out of the tower." And that's when he became a firefighter, and that is when I knew I wanted to be a fire commissioner. He had a really long, distinguished career here over 36 years. And when I became a fire commissioner, I think my ace in the hole in just about every firehouse that I visit is when I say I have family in the department, and they say who, and I say Chief Potter. And if they know him, and most do, the response is nearly always one of great respect for the man and for who he was as a leader in this department. And some of them even say, yeah, Chief Potter, he's held every single rank between firefighter and battalion chief. And he did, including helicopter pilot. Even though he didn't stay a helicopter pilot, he held every single rank between firefighter and battalion chief. Growing up around the department and visiting him in his various stations around the city, including after college when my family had moved away from town, and I would bum free food off of the firehouses that he was in on such a routine basis that at Fire Station 88 they threatened to put spots on me and call me a Dalmatian. But I feel a deep connection to this department as a result of having family here. I know he cared and still cares very deeply about the Los Angeles Fire Department, as do I. And I think if my mom were still around to see it, I think she would have been pretty proud of both of us. So thank you.
Thanks. So moving on to report of the fire chief.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to echo Commissioner Glazier's comments. I had the opportunity to work with Chief Potter in one of those ranks that he served in, and he's a class act. We wish him well in his retirement, and we thank him for all his contributions. He is a stand-up person. He did a great job for us. In terms of events, October 20th, I participated in 2 press conferences. The first one was a great shakeout event near Dodger Stadium at a apartment building. That highlighted the soft story retrofits. So it was well attended by media. We did that in the morning. And in the afternoon, we had a press conference out at Fire Station 109 off of Mulholland to highlight our partnership with UC San Diego and the brush fire rate of spread projection model. Very well attended by the media. We must have had 6, 7 cameras there. And I asked a few of the news people what drew you here, and it's the technology. They like the technology, and we just had a brush fire the day before in the valley, so there was a lot of interest. And highlighting that project, it was a $2 million grant that we got the benefits from at no cost to us. It was just a matter of sending an email to the PhD in charge of the project at UC San Diego. Great relationship, and we're actually moving on to another type of project, more along the lines of EMS predictive analytics. On November 3rd, I attended the Candidate Assistant Program at Hodgkins, and this is they call it the CAP program. This gets our candidates physically ready for the firefighter position. And I was very impressed. There's 50 to 60 attendees, and they do it 3 times a week. They do it at Hotchkiss and at 81's. Very well received. Very good program that we will continue. On November 8th, I was at Hotchkiss again, and I attended the Swiftwater Rescue COSEP to give opening comments and to recognize Battalion Chief Jack Weiss. It was going to be his last COSEP that he was going to train on Swiftwater Rescue. He's retiring early next year. While I was there, I talked to the bike medic training class. 40 of our members were in that class, so they could become bike medic certified. Talked about some of the successes that they had. We've had a cardiac arrest save at LAX and a cardiac arrest save at the Taste of Soul event done by the bike medics. It's a great resource, and it will continue to be a great resource. November 9th, we had the recruit graduation of Class 15-5 at Drill Tower 40. We graduated 42 recruits. 4 of those recruits were veterans, and that was a Wednesday, and Friday was Veterans Day, so it was appropriate. We had 4 of our people that were military veterans. One of them is currently active in the reserves, and it was fitting that we had that many. November 10th, we had the promotional badge presentation. We had 49 total promotions into 9 different ranks. Very well attended, very positive event. And then yesterday, we had the recruit family orientation class at Hotchkiss. It was class 16-2, and we welcomed 56 new recruits into the LAFD. 48 of those are male and 8 are female. So it's great diversity, and we now have the assembly line in motion. We have recruits graduate, we do mass promotions, and we do another family orientation, and we keep doing it over and over again. That concludes my report, Madam President. That's all I have.
Thank you. Verbal report by the department on significant incidents and activities from October 18th to November 14th.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chief Terrazas, City Attorney. Trevor Richmond, Deputy Chief, Commander Operations Valley Bureau. On October 19th at approximately 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, the LAFD was dispatched to a reported brush fire off of 11700 Tierra Vista Way, just adjacent to Cagle Canyon. Initial companies on scene reported 5 to 10 acres of brush burning very aggressively towards structures. All in all, the LAFD, over the course of about 12 hours, committed 39 companies, 6 battalion chiefs, 4 aircraft, plus our contract helitanker from Erickson. This is another example of a fire in the mutual threat zone where we're required to collaborate with LA County Fire and Angeles National Forest. And I have to say, having been at this incident, this incident went flawlessly. We had structures immediately threatened, and through the cooperation of our adjacent agencies, we were able to get a quick knockdown on this fire. And that's all I have.
Thank you. So, verbal report by the medical director for the same time period.
Good morning, Commissioners, Fire Chief, City Attorney, Dr. Mark Eckstein, Commander EMS Bureau. Significant EMS incident since the last meeting. On November 5th, incident 1183 in 20's first in, there was a DUI traffic accident, 110 near Dodger Stadium. Tragically, a car driving high speed rear-ended a car with a family inside, resulting in 4 patients, including a 4-month-old infant who tragically succumbed to her injuries. On the 10th November, 98's first in, truck versus a house, pinning 2 pedestrians, one of whom had near traumatic amputations of both lower extremities. Our firefighters did a great job with extrication and stabilization, utilizing 4 of our combat application tourniquets on this unfortunate gentleman. Though they couldn't save his legs, they saved his life because he otherwise would have bled to death. So that's a piece of equipment we have on every apparatus in the city. They required 4 on this one individual to save his life. On November 13th in West Hills in 105's first in, high-speed traffic collision on Van Owen and Platte resulted in a double fatality and 1 minor injury. Also, a significant hazard with a sheared hydrant and charged wires down. And fortunately, that's one of the safety questions we ask with our tiered dispatch system with all traffic accidents about all potential hazards such as wires down, which not only clues in our members responding, but also potential would-be bystanders or rescuers on scene not to run in and help. As you know, we had several Good Samaritans electrocuted few years ago in 102's first in with a similar type of incident. So we're able to elicit the nature of the hazards and advise incoming members as well as the bystanders to wait for the experts to arrive on scene to depower the lines. It was a tragic incident this morning about 7 a.m. in 98's first in as well. A 15-year-old high school student, apparently riding his bicycle to school, was sadly struck by a pickup truck pinned under the wheels and succumbed to his injuries. So the commanders on scene are requesting a crisis response team and school authorities to deal with the psychological impact, obviously, from the students and bystanders. On a positive note, we had a high-profile incident on November 1st here in downtown on the corner of 8th and Hill. A construction worker was impaled on 2 1-inch pieces of rebar through his chest, and a coordinated effort with our fast response vehicle, the member from Station 9, Station 11, and the construction workers on scene, able to safely extricate this patient. Miraculously, he survived and fully intact. The rebar missed his heart probably by less than a centimeter. And we're planning to have a reunion of this gentleman with the rescuers at Station 9 in the near future. And again, he's pleased to say he's made a full recovery. Truly a remarkable incident. I had the honor of being part of that rescue as well. And it's one of those incidents where truly a miracle that he survived given the location of his injuries. Also another, and again, on that incident, Fast Response Vehicle 201 was out patrolling in 9's first in, as they do, and they were on scene in under 2 minutes with providing stabilization, resuscitation, and even attempting to extricate him and cut the rebar. So phenomenal job and shows the effect of our Fast Response Vehicle. On November 10th, Incident 617 in 91's first in, other Fast Response Vehicle 401 also responded to a cardiac arrest, arrived on scene in under 3 minutes, and was able to provide all ALS intervention with defibrillation, IV access, and advanced airway management prior to the arrival of Engine 91. And a 76-year-old gentleman also expected to make a full recovery. So at least 2 incidents showing the benefit of having fast response vehicles, given how busy our resources are and the geography they have to cover. That's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to presentations.
Good morning. Name's Daniel Curry. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Los Angeles Fire Department. And I always follow Dr. Eckstein. He does the medical aspect of some significant incidents that we responded to in the last 2 weeks. And almost always he has a really nice story about a save where someone who, but for our intervention or from civilian intervention or from dispatcher intervention, is alive today. And we've brought somebody here into this room that 2.5 months ago that happened to him, where if not for a dispatcher, if not for a civilian bystander, and if not for the local fire station and EMTs and paramedics, he would have died. August 28th, 2016 at 10:33 a.m., Engine 19, Rescue Ambulance 19 were dispatched into the Sepulveda Pass on an unconscious male, 52 years old, who had apparently fallen from his bike. When they arrived on scene, they had a civilian bystander doing CPR. And as we know, for every minute that we are able to save as far as getting CPR in progress, that person has a 10% better chance at survival. And in this case, we were able to transition from civilian doing CPR in getting an automated external defibrillator attached to this individual, defibrillating his heart and getting it into a more effective rhythm. He eventually had a return of spontaneous circulation and was able to ultimately survive the incident. At this time, I'd like to pull up the members of Engine 19 and Rescue 19. 4 of them are here today. 2 of them could not be here, and also our dispatcher from Metro Fire Communications. So from Metro Fire Communications, Firefighter 3 Paramedic Nathan A. Wilmarth. If you could come up here, please. Stand right here. From Engine 19, Engineer Leo Byrne. Firefighter 3 Scott Hambley. Firefighter Paramedic Brian Howard. And Firefighter Paramedic Ray Castro. And then finally, our person who was rescued, Istvan Bernath. Could you please come up, please? So I'd like to read the recognition. In recognition and sincere gratitude of your heroic courage, diligent efforts, and expedient assistance, which contributed to saving the life of Mr. Istvan Bernath on August 28, 2016, and ultimately resulted in his recovery, the Los Angeles Fire Department commends you for your extraordinary life-saving efforts to a citizen of the City of Los Angeles, presented this 15th day of November 2016, and signed by Fire Chief Ralph Terrazas. Congratulations.
This is another example of the importance of the chain of survival. Right, Doc? Chain of survival.
Well said.
That is the key. And we've been having great stories like this. We've elevated it to the level of sometimes press conferences, sometimes a presentation and commission. But when all the links are there, when there's a civilian bystander who can start CPR, when the dispatcher can give instructions, when the engine and the rescue can get there, when they can continue that life-saving work, when they can transport to the hospital and the hospital staff takes over, we have this type of outcome where people live. And I can't be more proud of the work that you did, and I want to congratulate you all and offer the mic to any of you if you'd like to say a few words. I didn't think so. So, sir, would you like to say something?
So my name is Istvan Bernath, and I'm an artist. Maybe you saw some of my work on Princess Cruises if you ever go to that direction. They have like 1,000 large-size paintings. So at that time, I'm a bicyclist as well. And at that time, I usually go down bicycling from Mulholland to the beach and back. And I felt a little funny on my right hand. Never thought about the left hand, supposed to be the main thing. But I stopped by on San Vicente, massaged a little bit, get back to the bike and go ahead. But on Sepulveda Boulevard climbing up, I felt a little bit funny. And I said, I usually don't stop, but I have to. So I started to click out of my bicycle, so I stopped by. That was it. I don't remember getting down to the floor, and the first I remember, it was in the hospital. One of the gentlemen was writing on some stuff, and like 16 people all around me, and they said I had a cardiac arrest, and I was out like 15 minutes. So at this point, I felt UCLA, fine, I'm gonna somehow make it, and because of the professionalism and the bystander, whoever it was, they started to work on me, which I felt more than a month. So thank you very much, guys. I know you're working, but at the meantime, you work very well at this point. Thank you.
I wanted to say something from a personal note. I was a paramedic in the field for 15 years before I came to Metro, and there's a certain level of disappointment and dissatisfaction when you care for a patient, you drop them off at the hospital, then you leave and get your ambulance ready to go on the next call, and you take another person in and you leave. You don't really get to know the full outcome of the patient. And as a dispatcher, you can only do so much on the phone, then you hang up and the next call comes in. You don't get to see a lot of times the full picture of your part in the chain of what you're doing to help an individual like this gentleman here. And this is just, for me, a total point of satisfaction seeing a call that I took, and now I'm standing next to somebody who would have otherwise be dead if it weren't for the phone call and then what the guys in the field are doing. And whether it's, you're out in the field or on the phone, it's awesome to be able to see the whole story. It's very satisfying.
One more thing I would like to say that watch out, I'm back bicycling already 2 weeks.
All right, let's take a photograph here. Let's get everybody together. Sir,
Another one? Okay. Two. All right. So moving on to consent agenda items.
Okay, moving items 4A through E. The consent agenda, I move the recommendations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. So now we have regular agenda items. First one is report by the department on the status and disposition of LAFD matters referred to other council committees or departments, etc.
Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Julie and Sandy, my name is Graham Everett. I'm the Chief of Staff, and I have your council and committee activity report for the dates October 11th through November 4th. Everything that's contained in the report is pretty much what I have. There's 2 additional items that are not included in there that I'd like to give you today. The first is something that the council adopted on November 10th, which is the board report that you all saw regarding our private partnership to create the additional nurse practitioner response unit. So that has gone through council and it's been approved forthwith. Additional to that, on November 8th, Budget and Finance approved on the 7th, and actually it's moving to council. Kind of an old motion item they asked about our recruitment plan and our hiring procedure. So we've updated the Budget and Finance Committee. We're also going to be updating council with the results of our hiring and recruitment plan that we implemented earlier in the year. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Do we have second presentation?
No, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Move to adopt item recommendation for item 5A.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
No, ma'am. You just have additional observers today.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
You may have noticed we have additional guests here this morning, and I see Chief Gutierrez and Captain Matez, but I feel a presence of many pilots in the room. This is the Banning High School Firefighter Magnet Program. They are pilots like I am. I'm an alumni from way back when. We have 2 active Magnet High School programs right now, Banning and Wilson. The very first one, though, was at Banning. We have 2 more in the pipeline at Dorsey and Monroe. We're looking at next academic year to get those 2 started. But our goal is to plant this seed in these young people that they can choose to pursue a career in firefighting and work for the greatest fire department in the world, the Los Angeles Fire Department. And I think the way we start is to make a presence on campus, a regular presence, take them on field trips like they're doing today so they can see different aspects of the fire department, mentor and train them so that they can perform well in the oral interview, and they can go on the career path to go get the right type of degree, to get a job-related occupation so that when we interview and hire them, they're ready and they can compete with the thousands of people who compete for jobs with the Los Angeles Fire Department. So I want to thank you all for coming here today. I hope you can stay a little bit longer, but I know you have a full agenda. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Chief Gutierrez, for making it happen.
Thank you. So let's go through the other agenda items. 5B is report by the department on the donation of 6,000 units of intracenal naloxone from Adapta Pharmaceuticals.
Good morning again. Dr. Mark Eckstein, EMS Bureau Commander. As part of our ongoing efforts in the new EMS Bureau, as you know, we have a public health unit that we've created. We're trying to address the national scourge of potentially preventable deaths from opiate overdoses. So we partnered with a pharmaceutical company who's kindly agreed to donate a new formulation of naloxone, also known as Narcan, which is the antidote for opiate overdoses. The state has approved to allow peace officers to administer this medication. It's given as a nasal spray for patients with known or suspected overdoses from opiates, which typically leads to respiratory depression, respiratory arrest, and subsequent cardiac arrest if it goes untreated. And we know sometimes police officers are first on scene of these patients before fire department personnel arrives. And currently state statute only allows paramedics to administer this medication. So we're taking the lead to work with LAPD to conduct a pilot program, which will be receiving this donation of 6,000 doses of intranasal naloxone. And my public health unit staff would go ahead and train LAPD officers from Central Division, Rampart Division, and Newton Division, where it is most likely to have victims who might need to be resuscitated from opiate overdoses. And the concept is there'd be a brief training video where the LAPD officers would recognize signs and symptoms of opiate overdose and be instructed how to administer the medication. Again, it's intranasally administered, so there's no needles, there's no blood exposure or bodily fluid exposure. And it's an opportunity for law enforcement to actually save someone's life before paramedics arrive on scene. This is no cost to the department. My staff would do a train-the-trainer program. We've had preliminary meetings with LAPD leadership and the head of their training unit, who are very supportive of this plan. And I think it'll be another step of partnership between LAFD and LAPD to further reduce preventable deaths in our community.
Thanks. So just to clarify, so right now it's only a paramedic, and then this pilot program is going to let police officers do it. So, but EMTs can't.
That's
right
excellent question. So currently under state statutes, paramedics can administer this medication, and now law enforcement officers can as well. It's anticipated that EMTs will be allowed to administer this medication probably early next year. Currently they cannot. Our plan is once those regs change, we will also allow our EMTs to carry this medication. But currently it's paramedics or law enforcement only. So what's on the table here is to accept this donation from this pharmaceutical company that developed the intranasal formulation. We would then train our LAPD partners so they'll be able to carry this and treat individuals in the street before paramedics get there. Once the state regs change and allow EMTs to use this under the optional scope of practice, we would train our EMTs and have our EMTs carry this in every apparatus in the city, which I anticipate be sometime in 2017.
Yeah, this is great, and a big thank you to our pharmaceutical partner on this one. I move to adopt the recommendation for item 5B.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So 5C is the report by the department on the LAFD Volunteer Photographer Program.
Morning, Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, Ms. Rafish, Sandra. My name is Peter Sanders, the Public Information Director at the Fire Department. I'm here to present to you the proposed volunteer photography program that the Fire Department has been working on for some time. In the last few years, the Fire Department has seen an increase in the interest in the public in participating in terms of photography events here at the Fire Department. At the same time, the department has sometimes had trouble at getting photographers at non-emergency events like graduations, promotion events, family orientation, fire commission meetings like this one, to take pictures for the department's use, as well as pictures for internal for training, as well as our external social media and publicity needs for the department. So we're proposing this volunteer photography program. It's modeled slightly after the county, which has had one for some time now. And again, this will be on a volunteer basis. We'll have a cadre of photographers that will be available to take pictures, again, at non-emergency events. Those pictures will be usable by the department for our purposes. And there will be some benefits to those volunteers who have completed a number of events over the course of a year. They'll get to do ride-alongs at our stations and things that aren't necessarily open to other members of the public as in return for their volunteering for us. At the same time, this will supplant the existing Fireline Pass program that we've had for many years. We have had a number of photographers participate in that, and we value all of their participation, their input, and their product to these fires. But this volunteer program has nothing to do with emergency incidents. That is governed by the California Penal Code, and is access to those emergency incidents is overseen by the police department and the Penal Code. We invite everyone who wants to come take pictures at our emergency incidents to continue doing so in the same way that they have been. However, this will supplant that program. We would transition to a volunteer fire photography program. We would not be overseeing anyone doing incident photography. Again, that would be governed by the Penal Code and law enforcement who controls those things. And so we would move into the volunteer photography program and go forward on that basis. Questions?
Just a quick question. The ownership of the photographs?
So the photos, the way the program's set up is that the photos the fire department would have access to the photos at these events, and we would request that up to 20 of these photos are sent to us and to the public service officers for our use. 24 hours after the event and these photos have been sent, the photographers themselves could use them for their social media purposes. They aren't allowed to sell them or any commercial gain at all.
Okay.
And we can use them. Those are considered the department's use for our purposes.
Okay.
So
those are the restrictions on what they can
24 hours, yeah, correct.
Right, and
no
that
selling.
they can't sell them.
Correct, absolutely.
Fantastic.
And then the fire passes are they going to be
We will not be
rescinded?
renewing fire passes any longer. That's no longer would be, those Fireline passes would not be renewed going forward.
Those don't give you access to incidents anyway, or do they?
Well, I mean, in the previous iterations, they have given you, they don't give you necessarily more access than anyone else had. They are, in the original iteration in the 60s, and as it's gone forward, has been to go beyond the fire line that pretty much no longer exists at major fires. At major incidents, we have 20 to 30 to 40 photographers from the public at incidents taking pictures, and the Penal Code does govern how close that individuals, whether they have a fireline pass or not, can get to the incident.
If they do they need some permit from LAPD?
The LAPD
Yeah.
provides press passes to get behind LAPD lines, but the fire line, the Penal Code basically allows any public citizen to get to an incident as long as they're remaining on public property and they're not interfering with emergency operations. PD governs their own press passes.
I see. Okay. All right. Any questions? So we have 2 public comments before we vote. First one is from Adam Van Gerpen from United Firefighters of Los Angeles.
Hello, my name's Adam Van Gerpen. I'm a director with the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, Local 112. I'm also a photographer who shows up at many emergency incidents as well as off-duty, and a lot of the things that Peter has been mentioning as far as where they do need volunteer fire photographers there. and we have a large number of events. So the union is fully in support of the volunteer fire program. We've been saying for years that there's not, if anything, we need to increase it. I mean, not just volunteer, but throughout the department, a photo video unit, get more the photographers out there. We're supportive. I've talked with Peter. If they need some additional staffing for that, if they need some additional funds for that, we would be in support of that. If you go back even to the 50s, you look at some of the training videos that were put on there. They get some VIP people speaking on it. It's very important, and I think we can really sell the fire department, sell our message. What we also support is our emergency photographers that are out there. Many of these photographers have been shooting for us for 30, 40 years. And what they do is they sell the brand of Los Angeles Fire Department, not only within the city, but also across the country, at a national level, at a local level. We put out this book. Many of the commissioners. This went to all the fire commissioners. It went to all the city council members, our elected officials throughout the state, as well as every fire station got 3 of these. The pictures in here. These are pictures from right on the fire line. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and we've recognized them. But many of these photographers, they stay up all night. They're not. Some of them do get paid. The pay that is received for that barely covers their gas money. They might get $50 for a picture that's sent into the LA Times. I didn't realize. Am I on a time limit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, picture worth 1,000 words. Okay.
And we love the book.
Essentially, the fire line pass. So we agree with that. The fact that they need that they do need a volunteer program, but the fact that they want to rescind the fire line pass is not something that we agree with. That it is governed under the penal code. And that the penal code does give the ordinary citizen the right to shoot for whatever's in public view. However, LAPD they're doing their job. They're protecting the scene and protecting the incident.
Thank you.
Sorry, did you?
Yeah, we have another one. So another public comment. As well.
Yeah.
So it might cover some of this.
Okay, yeah, it is going to cover this, and it's probably better to hear from the emergency photographers themselves why they need this fire line pass. So. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So our second public comment is from Mr. Sean Kane.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Sean Kay. I'm a former fire line pass holder for 5 years. I agree with Adam and Mr. Sanders that the volunteer photography program should go forward. However, I am opposed to rescinding Resolution 732 because the typical LAPD media credential stops us at the barrier point. The fire line pass is what allows us to go past that and actually get the firefighters working, discharging their duties, which is often not attainable from a block away, where LAPD will typically put up a barrier, if you will. So for that reason, I would suggest not to rescind 732. In addition, that also is not only for photographers, that is also for dignitaries, council aides, excuse me, a lot of other people just besides us. So that's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions?
No. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Move the recommendation on item 5C.
I actually.
Oh, do you have comments? Sorry, I thought you wanted.
So yeah, I just. Well, just because I want to know more.
You want to, yeah.
Yeah, because if the volunteer program is, we're all in full agreement. Yeah. Got the union on board. I think it's fantastic. I don't have enough information on the fire line pass.
Okay.
Personally.
I think that can Peter come back? I think that what Peter said earlier was that there's a misunderstanding about what the fire line pass does. It doesn't do that, right? It doesn't.
The Fireline Pass, I understand Mr. K's concerns as well as Mr. Van Gerpen's concerns, and I do see them. However, I don't think that they're in the everyday sense of our current incidents in 2016. I don't think that there's a restriction on most individuals getting forward. The fact that the Fireline Pass holders can get forward doesn't mean that other people can't. There is some confusion with LAPD at the field officer level. I have talked to Mr. Rubenstein, who's my counterpart at LAPD, and will continue to, about additional education for the sergeants and the officers in the field as to letting folks close. But Mr. K and the other fire photographers who go out there with the fireline passes get close, but so do many other people without fireline passes. And the truth is that at many of our major incidents, we can have upwards of 24 fire photographers there, and only maybe a handful have fireline passes. They are closer. They do get wonderful pictures for the department as well as for the union, the Grapevine. But many people are getting pictures. Many people in the public are getting the same pictures as well. And I think the fireline pass as it currently exists isn't a device that is useful or necessary in the way it may have used to been.
So it doesn't give you access beyond what is already.
By the letter of law, no, it does not.
Okay.
And there may be a misunderstanding or some communication piece with LAPD, and there often has been over the years, and we are trying to address that with PD.
Can I make a suggestion? Maybe. So I've heard a little. I think I totally appreciate where this is coming from. My suggestion might be: look, well, let's try it, and see how it goes. Maybe we give this. Let's adopt the. My suggestion would be: let's adopt this as it's written. Let's give it 6 months, and in 6 months, we can come back and check if what we're seeing is that our photographers don't have the access that they need at that point, and we're seeing a drop in quality of pictures, or then at that point we can reconsider whether we want to reinstate the fire pass rule. But I would say, it's from what you're telling me, it's what I'm hearing. Yeah. It sounds like you don't believe there's going to be any real practical difference in terms of how close people get.
Correct.
But it will solve an issue of confusion.
Correct.
That we're seeing with the LA Police Department, with the LAPD, which we technically shouldn't have. Our fire passes shouldn't have any jurisdiction over an LAPD line. Is that correct?
Correct. The fire passes do not have jurisdiction over an LAPD line or a crime scene.
Okay.
And the other thing that has happened here and has happened recently is that some individuals have attempted to get fireline passes to subvert the LAPD press pass policy. Mm-hmm. The fireline pass is not a media pass. It never has been written that. It has morphed over the years into people attempt to use it as a media pass that don't have an LAPD media pass. Many people who have LAFD fireline passes also have LAPD and LA Sheriff's press passes because they're members of the media. We have had a number of individuals who have tried to subvert that process by getting a fireline pass and using that as a media credential in other areas. But the fireline pass is not a media credential. It does not grant access to media members any access to our scenes or even LAPD's or the sheriff's scenes. So that has been one of the flaws in the fireline pass program, is that people have attempted to use them as media passes. Right. And that is not what it's for.
Yeah.
So, but if you have concerns, or if you want to just have more conversations, we can put this over for a meeting, for the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's confusion still not about the volunteer photography program.
Yeah, that has support.
Right. I mean, is it possible? Can we vote on just that portion and then hold off and discuss this in detail?
Can we do that? Can we vote to adopt the volunteer photography program, and then just not vote on rescinding the fire passes until there's clarity between people?
You could, technically you could. I just don't know the details of the program sufficiently to say that if you adopt the program that there aren't any conflicting provisions of the program with the existing fireline pass program.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion would be, it seems like the volunteer photography program is sort of contingent on a change to the fireline pass. In some ways, so not everybody agrees with that, but that's possible. So I would well, my preference, feel free to overrule me, but my preference would be to say either let's hold it for 2 weeks and you can find out more, or why don't we, or a second option would be we could adopt it, provisionally for 6 months and revisit it in 6 months and say, how's it going? And is it working the way we expect it to work? Which is to say, have we reduced incidents of abuse? Because while nobody in the room maybe guilty of abusing the pass. Clearly, folks have abused the pass, and unfortunately, when you get abuse, then that's kind of ruins it for everybody. But so I would put either of those options out, but I'd rather not split it up because I get the sense it's, at least from staff perspective, they kind of would like to see one or the
it
other
all
happen.
together. No, and I appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate, eliminating abuse as well. And I just want to make sure that there's no negative or downside by revoking it. And I understand that, it's a blanket, thing. So I just want to make sure that all confusion is that I'm not voting on something I'm unsure of and I have all the facts. And if there's an alternative to providing specific people.
All right. So I'll certainly be happy to second the motion to put it over, or a request to put it over. Okay.
Just so that everybody sort of understands what we're doing, what we're not doing, what the fire pass was never supposed to do, and the specific instances that we're trying to correct and make sure that everybody understands it.
Okay.
Right. I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
With this program. So.
Great.
But yeah.
We'll hold it for 2 weeks? Yeah. So do I need a motion to hold this for 2 weeks? Okay, so I move to continue this until the next commission meeting.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 5D is report by the department on the update of the redesign of LAFD youth programs.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief, Council. On a personal note, Chief Commissioner Glazier, Commissioner Glazier, your uncle, Chief Potter, is a great friend and a great mentor, and we're going to miss him. Congrats on an awesome career. I'm here today to provide an update, Battalion Chief Alicia Welch, for an update on the youth programs. We have a long history in Los Angeles Fire Department of engaging with youth, and we have in the past always done so with dedicated, passionate volunteers, never really supported the programs. We've had challenges in lack of organizational structure and resources. But thanks to you all, on August 31st, in your commission motion, that LAFD review and redesign the LAFD youth programs focused at standardization, consistency, accessibility, sustainability, and dedicated program oversight. Today, what you saw that was one of our new programs, the High School Magnet. This is an example of a program that needs support, organizational structure, resources, and commitment. What we're doing currently in this youth program redesign, we've broken it down into 4 phases. And what we're doing is breaking down the 4 programs: the cadet program, the youth fire academies, High School Magnet, and Crew 3. Our first phase, we met with you a couple weeks ago, Commissioner Glazier, on this. Phase 1 is the cadet program redesign, and that's been our long-standing program, so we started with that one. We wrote a work plan. We initiated a work group. We've rewritten the cadet manual, cadet task book. We've set a meeting schedule and staffing plan. We've done facilities and equipment assessments. And when I say we, I mean our good people who've been volunteers all these years. We've written and submitted a budget request to support the 4-bureau cadet program. We've submitted a senior project coordinator position to you all. We've adjusted physical agility standards, and we've created a marketing and recruitment plan. Phase 2 of our youth redesign is focused on the youth fire academies, and we met yesterday for the first time with our work group, and we've identified a leader of that group. We've drafted a work plan, and we're in motion to start focus on the youth fire academies redevelopment. Our next phase will be to look at the high school magnet programs. They're going to need support and structure. We already know with the 2 programs we have this year, we're running out of staff and resources to support the program. So we're going to be looking at ways to formalize and standardize that program, and we're working in partnership with the Fire Foundation to give us money that we need right now to keep that program afloat. Another key, I think, for you all to know is we met, Chief Terrazas and key administrators from LAUSD met last week on Election Day and started the conversation of how we get more budget support, more partnerships, and involve all the partners at building the program for next year. Phase 4 of our redesign program is going to be focused at Crew 3, and we'll be looking at formalizing, standardizing, and providing consistency to that program as well. Following that, we're going to put all these phases together, and what we're looking to do through the documentation of all this youth training is to move into a train-to-hire program. So we'll be focusing on that next year. Some things that have been ongoing through these phases, we've been working closely with the LAFD Fire Foundation for financial support. We're continuing our marketing partnership with Quigley Simpson, who's offered to market and brand our youth programs. And we're also developing a new partnership with ESPN, who has done some marketing on their website and ESPNW, which is the women's site. And they're doing some advertising for us now, so we're looking forward to a meeting with them this week to move forward in youth support. One key thing that we have that's going to help us stay on track, we have a meeting schedule, and you'll see that in the work plan. We're going to meet with the commissioners on a monthly basis. I think it's the third Monday of the month. And on the second Wednesday, the work groups will have a meeting to ensure that there's ongoing progress and movement in the right direction. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
First, I want to appreciate all the hard work that's going in on this from you and from your group. I have been so excited by the groundswell of enthusiasm behind this. And there's a lot of former cadets that are in this department, and every one of them has believes that this is the right direction to be going in. And so I'm really excited to see the work that's happening here. I also just want to reiterate, you talked about the funding and the budget. This work will be for nothing if we cannot get it appropriately funded. It is my mission on the to work with the foundation to try to find private sector funding to support the non-personnel needs. But this department must fund the personnel requirements to make this work. And I also want to thank Commissioner Ninberg for being my partner in crime on this. But this is a big deal. And I know it can be hard when we have so many needs that are in front of our nose right now, and there are many of them. It can be hard to look 5 years down the line and say, what are we doing for our future? This is about the future of our department, and I appreciate the work that you and your team are doing to make sure that that future is a good one, and meets all the sort of strategic objectives that we have, and that it takes the role that this department rightly should have of investing in our communities and our youth in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you for your work. I look forward to continuing to work with you and with Commissioner Ninberg on this and with this commission. Thank you. I want to appreciate the support of this commission. It's so important for that you all are in support of this. Thank you.
Yes, I also want to say thank you so much for the tremendous work. I too am very excited, and this is a true legacy project for all of us, this entire department.
You know, I just might want to mention the fire chief and actually the medical director and I, we're going to be meeting with the community benefit leadership of Kaiser Permanente, Southern California. And the original idea was just to talk about the nurse practitioner response unit and the mental health unit, but I would suggest that, you know, Kaiser Permanente has a pretty deep pocket, and especially if we're talking about youth and cadets and, you know, the youth academies and everything, I think we might bring that up as a third agenda item when we meet with them early in December.
That's good. Excellent, because we need... So, yes, so the Fire Foundation did say that they were going to fund equipment, and that is fantastic. But I do think that this is essential. And looking at the diversity of that class that walked in, you know, the department, organizations, and public safety work best when they reflect the community. And that's one of the strategic goals, and this is a solid plan to move forward to ensure that this department lives on and reflects its community, because these jobs are incredible. And we do have tremendous support in council. And I second Commissioner Glazier on the fact that this department absolutely needs to get behind this full-throated and fund this appropriately, because this is the future, and it's important for everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief,
Thanks.
for all your work.
Move to adopt the recommendation, item 5D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So now we have a verbal report by the department on the quarterly status report from Operations South Bureau.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Some more cool pictures.
Chief Darren Palacios, Deputy Chief, Operations South Bureau, Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, City Attorney, good morning. First, I'd like to start out by introducing my tremendous staff that supports everything that happens down there at South Bureau. So with that, the man that needs no introduction, my Assistant Bureau Commander, Chief Ronnie Villanueva.
Chief of Staff.
Oh, yeah.
We have, my training officer, Captain Pham, is on vacation. I have my EMS and resiliency officer, Captain Steve Marquez. We're kind of sad that Jeremy Karmelich, our management analyst too, he's an alternate for the class last night. So he's at the orientation. We're happy for him. He hopefully will be hired in this next class for firefighter. He's been a tremendous asset for our management analyst, but we're happy he's becoming a sworn member of this department. And I'd like to introduce the person that holds us all, the glue that holds us all together is Erica Cabrera, my secretary. And we do have a decentralized EMS educator, Nancy Medina, who not here with us. She's out busy training, but it's been a great addition to our local staff. Just a real quick overview. Obviously, 3 battalions, as most of the other bureaus are. Battalion 6, Battalion 13, 18, very diverse. Battalion 6 obviously serves the port and the harbor. Battalion 13, South Los Angeles, Watts, South Central USC area. And then we have Battalion 18, which is all the way out to Century City, Crenshaw, the Grove, all of that area. So very diverse, about 83 square miles. The communities served, obviously I can't list them all here, but just some ideas of some of the communities we serve. The council members, 6 council members are served by South Bureau. Again, as you show in there, a lot of their council districts overlap with different fire station areas. But, Councilman Buscaino, he's located within our building as well. He's 2 floors above us. We reach out to these people on a daily basis. We have great relationships, and we continue to build those relationships with all of these local council members and their staff that are located in their offices. So here are 30 neighborhood councils. I have gotten out to speak at every single one of them personally. And then we also have, my staff has followed up in a lot of different ones. And it took a while to get to all of them, but you eventually get to all of them. And then I make sure that either my battalion chief, my staff, or the people out in the field do attend these. What I recognized right away was senior lead officers for LAPD are on every single one of these agendas for all these council meetings. They really get out there and they really sell their soap. We don't. So what I found is we really need to attend those meetings, talk to them about response times, talk to them about fire stat, talk to them about nurse practitioners, the things that how progressive, the technology that we're implementing. The people don't really know what we do. They're happy with the fire department. They really don't have any complaints, but they have no idea the things that Chief Terrazas and what this commission's pushing forward. And it's really great to go to these meetings and really tell them the progressive and the technology that we are really pushing forward in this department. So it's always nice to have a 1-page or 2-page handout that I pass out there to really give them an idea of what's going on. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Villanueva to talk about the next part.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam President, Chief Terrazas, Julie. I'm Assistant Chief Ronnie Villanueva, and Chief Palacios told me to keep it short, so my portion's only going to last about an hour and 45 minutes. But I'll keep it brief. Probably do about 5 minutes. Anyway, as you can see, our stakeholders that we have: USC, the Coliseum, the Port of Los Angeles, and the Grove. Battalion 13 handles USC. Battalion 13 handles the Coliseum. Battalion 6 is the Port, and Battalion 18 the Grove. USC. Now I'm going to go to each one of them very briefly. USC, we've had a great collaboration with SC. Just the responses that we have there, the events that we have there, and we actually put a point person in charge, liaison, and that was formerly Tyler Dixon. Now it's our USC alumni, Captain Marquez, and so it's really a good fit, and he does an outstanding job to keep that momentum going. The Memorial Coliseum, as you can see, we have USC football games there, LA Ram football games, and soon to be the Bank of California stadium that's going to hold 22,000 for the new expansion team that we're going to have called the Los Angeles Football Club. So, and with the SC game every weekend, or almost every weekend, we have a large event of some sort. 15 football games between USC and the LA Rams. Sometimes we have the games there actually happened 3 times where Saturday and Sunday we have games that are there. And of course, the Coliseum capacity is 90,000. Port of Los Angeles, great partner again with the nation's #1 port in terms of container volume. Also 27 terminals. It keeps us very busy. And then down at the bottom there, that last bullet, the container, automobile, liquid bulk, dry bulk, and break bulk. Just a quick little definition of what liquid bulk is and what we deal with and what our hazmat people deal with. Liquid bulk is oil, gasoline, liquefied natural gas, and chemicals, and etc. Dry bulk, grain, coal, petroleum, coke, iron, ore, wood chips. Break bulk is just general cargo, which is things that are not in a container. And so those are steel slabs, coils, and pelletized items. The Grove, this place right here is pretty dynamic, actually, and it doesn't seem like it, but they get approximately 18 million visitors a year there, and that's a huge number, 18 million. And we have a stat that we found, and I don't know. I mean, Jeremy found it, and he's our guy. But Jeremy Karmelich says that, I'm going to put him on the spot, that more than Disneyland's 16 million. Of course, I don't know which one or all of them put together. It's probably just the one in Anaheim. But it's free to go to the Grove. So you do have a lot that's going on, and you have a lot of events there. Just recently we had the Christmas tree lighting. Okay, we'll get the incident types. Battalion 6, very dynamic. We have cliff rescues, cruise ships, container terminals, marina liveaboards, vessels, sinking ships, warfires, and airplanes. Just to point on a couple of them, those cliff rescues that we have, those are very dynamic, and it's a lot more than what you see, land, sea, and air. When you have the helicopters coming in, divers in the water, people rappelling off the cliff to save someone that's down there, sometimes they're doing it and there isn't anyone to save. They're just trying to figure out what's going on. That coordination is really awesome to see. And I happen to live right there. Actually, I took that shot right there. And I live across the street from that. And to watch it, it actually makes me very proud of our department, of what they do and how they train day in and day out. And that goes for all the bureaus. That's not just us. That's just what we do. But this is a great example of that. The cruise ships is another thing. Multi-casualty incidents, they bring them to us. Sometimes it might be 5 patients. Sometimes it might be 20 patients that are on those. But that can turn dynamic very quickly and exhaust resources within the city. And the war fire that we had, that fire, I know you've heard it before, but that's something else with our fire department. 19 hours, I believe that was, Chief Castro? 19 hours. Maybe in another department that might have lasted a few days. But we still have many wharfs that are there, wooden wharfs, and things that could happen. So we are prepared and trained for if we happen to have another one, hopefully not. And at one time we did have recently an airplane collision. 2 airplanes collided in the harbor. And because of our relationships that we have with our port complex partners, Long Beach and Los Angeles, that was actually a flawless incident that we had and took care of. Battalion 13, as you know, is one of the busiest battalions, or the busiest battalion. Almost 93,000 total calls in 2015. and over 83,000 through October of this year. So structure fires, EMS, Metro Rail Blue Line, freeway incidents, we have a lot of resources there, but they're still tapped daily. Battalion 18. Battalion 18 is a variety of terrain, high-rise, structure fires, brush fires, light rail, freeway incidents. Of course, high value and very dense population there. It's just like downtown LA. During the day and during the week, there's a lot more people there than you think in those high-rises. So with that, we have our special resources. We have our nurse practitioner unit over at Fire Station 15, which has been a success and well received. Once again, thank you so much. The doc left already, but everyone involved with that's been great. Fireboats and our dive program, Cap Marquez is going to get a little bit into that later. I won't steal his thunder. Fire Station 49 has a small boat and a large boat. Fire Station 110 and 111 have small boats. Fire Station 112 has a large boat. Urban Search and Rescue, 85s, they work a lot. Probably 2 to 3 of those calls a month to the Cliff Rescues that we have, and well-trained, and they do an outstanding job. Hazmat 21 and 48. 21 is full-time. That's the only full-time staff hazmat squad that we have in the city, and 48 is flex staff. And I kept that hour and 45 minute presentation, I think, down to about 5 minutes. That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Good morning, Fire Commission, Fire Chief Terrazas, City Attorney, Captain 1, Steve Marquez, the EMS and Resilience Officer assigned to the South Bureau office. And I have the tough job of going behind Chief Villanueva, but I'll try and just piggyback on what he was doing and continue on with our presentation. Special events are a big part of the workload in South Bureau. Chief Villanueva talked about the football games there at the Coliseum at the South Bureau. We provide incident command or event management staff, as well as developing the EAPs for those events, as well as some of the special events that we're going to highlight here. This year, the LA Port hosted the first annual Los Angeles Fleet Week. This was a free public event that honored and showcased our military personnel and their resources. We had several naval ships and Coast Guard ships come into the port, as well as their air resources that we showcased throughout that Labor Day weekend. It was a collaborative event. We were in a unified command with the Los Angeles Port Police, Los Angeles Fire Department, as well as the Coast Guard, and other cooperating agencies were actually throughout the city, Parks and Recs, DOT, obviously POLA, the LA Port, FBI, NCIS. I mean, to go on to say that the command post was very full. The LA Port Police was identified as a lead agency in that unified command. However, the Port Police had never taken on an endeavor this large or putting on a planned event this large. The fire department, we stepped up and we instructed the port on kind of how to put this kind of event together on the ICS system, how to utilize a unified command post, and it went off very well. We would like to highlight the work of Captain Mike Fisher in our communications unit. He provided all the communications and visual screens for security monitoring for the entire command post. So I mean, all those agencies that we talked about were on common communications, and that was because of the diligent and hard work of Captain Mike Fisher. And then logs for the entire event was managed by Captain Rich Moody in the tactical planning section, and they did a tremendous job. Without the work of those two gentlemen and the folks that helped them, this event wouldn't have been as successful as it was. So we'd like to thank them very much. Moving on to our next event, the Taste of Soul. The Taste of Soul this year was the 11th annual Taste of Soul. It started in 2005 with about 50,000 people attending, and this year was an estimated crowd of about 350,000. It is the largest street fair in the city of Los Angeles. It's a music and food festival. It's free to the public and put on by the Bakewell Group and the Los Angeles Sentinel, just to basically bring the community together. As you can see, it's very well attended, and the community just appreciates the event. In learning from past practice, because of the large crowd and the nature of the event, last year, this event overwhelmed LAFD resources. We had over 32 transports out of that event with over 100 patient contacts. So besides the resources that were already assigned to that event, we brought in 12 additional rescues to that event to initiate those 32 transports. So needless to say, we were taxed that day. So trying to build on that and learn from that, we worked with the event organizers this year, and because it is a free public event, there are not a lot of monetary resources for them to provide a private medical plan. This year we worked with them, and we identified medical clinics within the community that were willing to provide volunteer staff and resources to provide. We ended up providing 5 medical stations throughout the event as one main medical station that was staffed with doctors, basically medical doctors. And through this plan, we ended up with just 8 LAFD transports out of the event and only 30 patient contacts. So it was definitely a win for all involved. On the picture, you see the bike team. All the events that we have in South Bureau that we have the bike team involved, they are tremendous. Their work, I think you can put into words, just their expertise and just the value of the work that they put in. At this event, they saved a man who was in near cardiac arrest in the middle of the event. They were within him within less than 2 seconds, and when they put him in the back of the rescue and moved him on, he was doing better than expected. So I'd just like to highlight the great work that the bike team does at all our special events. Moving on next, FYF Fest. It's just an example of some of the many music festivals that are held at the Expo Park area. FYF Fest, and this past weekend we had Camp Flognog, which are 2-day music festivals, usually 3 to 4 stages, carnival rides. Obviously it's geared towards a younger crowd, 60 to 70,000 people over 2 days. This is a good example of where we partner with event organizers, get them to use their financial resources to bring in private medical providers. FYF Fest and Camp Flognog have been using a private medical provider that brings in doctors, nurses, paramedics, and EMTs, as well as transporting resources. So we don't have that impact on our local fire department resources. So this year at the FYF Fest, we had 1 LAFD transport, and at this weekend's Camp Flognog, we had 0 LAFD transports. All we provided in terms of resources for these events were 2 bike teams, a med cart, and then a battalion chief and EMS captain to coordinate those efforts. So when we put a private medical plan in place for these large events, obviously you can see the benefits of that. Next, moving on to Pick Pico. Pick Pico is a community street fair put on by the Westside Neighborhood Council. It's just a good way of bringing the community together and all the community partners. Many of our neighborhood councils have these street fairs, street festivals, block parties, and events. And from our bureau office, we encourage and support our local fire stations and our local battalion command teams to come out and attend these events and just interact with the community. And bureau staff, Chief Villanueva and Chief Palacios, will also attend as their schedules allow. So that kind of does it there for our special events. Some of the other special events that aren't on here that we have upcoming is the Kingdom Day Parade. That'll be in the Crenshaw District. It's about a mile-long parade. 75,000 people attend. We will be providing LAFD resources as well as the event command staff within the South Bureau, as well as assisting the Battalion 18 office in developing the EAP for that event. We also have upcoming is the Run to Remember, a half marathon that will start and finish at the Grove, which is in Battalion 18 Fire Station 61's district. It'll go through around Battalion 18 and Battalion 5. And again, we will be working with our LAPD partners to develop an EAP and provide the command post staff for the day of the event. Moving on now to the training coordination in our South Bureau. Obviously, Captain Paul Pham is our training support specialist, and he's unable to be here today. But he works diligently day in and day out to make sure that our members are getting the required and needed training on a daily basis. And just a couple of things to highlight here on this slide, specifically to the South Bureau. The active shooter. We've been participating in several active shooter exercises, but some kind of ones that bring a different dynamic. We have done 2 now at Expo Park at the Natural History Museum and another one at the California Science Center. That it was multi-agency because of the different agencies involved with Expo Park. The active shooter drill was LAFD, but in coordination with LAPD, CHP, and the LA County Sheriffs. So it brings a different dynamic to it when you're dealing with 3 different law enforcement agencies. We've also done an active shooter exercise at the Fox Studios in Century City, which was coordinated along with LAPD, but now we deal with private security and law enforcement. Obviously, Fox Studios, because of their assets and their personnel, have a large security team on site. So again, it was working fire department not only with LAPD, but with those private security providers as well. We have a couple active shooter exercises planned coming up on the USC campus and working with their Department of Public Safety. And we have one coming up at the port at the cruise ship terminal, which will again bring in all our port security partners on that one. Because of our marine assets, the marine assets have special training needs. And so we try to work with our partners to address those marine training needs on a regular basis. And most recently, in the past 2 weeks, we had the Mormon Island training drill, which is a partnership with Shell Oil, who inhabits the Mormon Island oil terminal. And it was a 2-day training event. The first day was a tabletop event. The second day was a operational training event that simulated a tanker ship docked in the LA harbor that now catches fire. And so we used all the Battalion 6 resources, as well as some of the other port partners, to put on that drill. It was beneficial to all involved, and we keep doing that with our the private port partners in the LA port. And then we also talked about the dive program. The dive program is very unique because it is a specialized program, but it's one of the few, if maybe the only specialized program in our department that does not have a dedicated coordinator to address the operational equipment and training needs of that program. The South Bureau office did a gap analysis of the dive program and identified many issues within the dive program that need to be addressed. And talked with all the members of the dive program and within the stations there in the port. And we've now created several work groups in terms of operation, policy, procedure, equipment, safety, and training. Those work groups are identifying those issues and just working on short-term and long-term goals just to help the sustainability, safety, and operational needs of the dive program. So we're moving forward on that dive program, getting them in the place that they need to be. Moving on from training, we have the Safeguard program. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Safeguard program that's supplying aid to victims of emergency, and it's a collaborative effort with the LAFD, United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, and the California Fire Foundation. And it's basically a way to provide immediate and short-term assistance to victims of disasters. If it's been identified that 25% of their personal items have suffered a loss, that on the spot we can issue them basically a debit card, credit card worth $100 so they can meet those short-term needs. South Bureau has taken the coordination of this program for the LAFD. Currently, we've distributed and activated over 90 Safeguards. And to kind of streamline the process, when we took it over, members of our Bureau staff have created a online interactive form through Google Docs. So when the incident commander issues a card, when he comes back to the station, gets on that online form, fills out all the information, it gets automatically emailed to us, comes in a spreadsheet. So when we have to lost for words here. So we have to submit our information to the California Fire Foundation on a quarterly basis. We just grab that spreadsheet, everything fills in perfectly, and it saved a lot of time and made the program a lot more efficient. So, thank you.
The commissioner, feel free to ask questions anytime you want.
Yeah, I have a question. So for the FYF festival and for other festivals, you have private medical arrangements?
Yes.
Do we have that with like the Rams? Because the Rams sits in your division too, right?
AMR provides first aid within the Coliseum. We provide the first aid outside the Coliseum. We've worked with June's staff to now bill the Rams and USC for our resources.
Okay.
So yeah, that just started this year.
Okay, good.
It was a pro bono before that. Some of the things you might want to look at is challenges. I know part of the thing that you look at is what are our challenges. You probably want to hear what our challenges are for what this bureau. Part of it is the staffing challenges. As we said, we're very active with events on the weekends. It's very hard for my members to take days off during the week to be at those weekend events. So we're either paying them overtime and they're working 7 days a week, or they're trying to fit in places here and there. But one of the biggest challenges is definitely the staffing and the frequency of events, things of that nature. Battalion 6 is scheduled I was happy to hear in the chief's budget to get EITs possibly for Battalion 6. It has 11 fire stations, very large, very unique. Does not have EIT. It's a tremendous workload for that battalion chief. We don't have a 24-hour response AC like Central Bureau and Valley Bureau does. So Central Bureau AC responds down into South Bureau to our responses. Myself or Chief Villanueva are usually on call. We'll get a call from MFC. Either we'll go there before they arrive, or we'll go and relieve when it's proper. We'll relieve Central Bureau so they can go back and handle their district. It is a workload issue. It means that one of us are on call all the time 24 hours. We talked about it with I've talked about it with Commissioner Glazier. We're trying to figure out maybe some solution to not having to be on call all the time. But we'll continue to look at that. And at this point, it's working. We're getting there. We're able to relieve Central Bureau, and we're able to run those. And we've had very good outcomes on most of the emergency incidents. But that is one of them. The last one is the uniqueness of the port. Chief Villanueva is on a lot of committees, Area Maritime, a lot of the different committees, or I'm on the committees. With that, that takes away from the rest of our bureau. So it would be nice at some point to restore like airports has an assistant chief, and some of these other areas have a BC or AC that maybe works in that area that could specialize, that could handle a lot of those problems that creep up, because we'll talk about a few of the issues that come across. Accomplishments. I'm not going to talk. You saw the Banning High School mentor they gave it here. Great job, great program. Chief Terrazas, Chief Gutierrez, all these people, the leaders, Alicia, Chief Welsh. They're all doing a tremendous job with these mentor programs. So I'm not going to talk, but they're doing a great job. We did have one I want to talk about. This is one of the times during Fleet Week we got called by the assistant general manager of the port that they were having a labor dispute that was going to close down the port. That's going to cost them $2 million a day. There was a dispute between there's an automated. They're going to go fully automated at this container terminal. There were some concerns from the longshoreman and the work and the business agent as to where it was safe to drive these containers and that. I was able to send the inspector and Chief Villanueva there. They were able to, on the spot, resolve that issue. And again, they didn't close the port for that day, which would have cost them $2 million. So with that, the port's very happy that we are there, that we have that relationship and partnership with the port. They know they can call us and we can go out and handle these type of cases to prevent the port from losing a lot of money. So this was just one of the type of issues that we're handling down there for the port. Another win here, Kaiser Permanente. We had a real problem with the 911 response to that Kaiser. Captain Dixon, who was prior to Captain Marquez, he went over there. We started having monthly meetings with Kaiser. The results, 61% drop in 911 calls. They were our super user in our area, and they've gone way down. We continue to have meetings. We just built a great relationship with that Kaiser there that we've educated, and so much so that Kaiser wants to take our model and take it to other campuses. So it's been working really well. I can't talk enough about MySafe LA. They've done some great projects with us. Marlton Elementary School for the deaf. We were able to have an earthquake drill there. Our people had to respond in and had to deal with people with the DAFN, the special needs people. They had to learn to interact with people that couldn't communicate, have difficulties in communication. It really was a challenge. We learned a lot of takeaways from that. But MySafe LA, they did a nice earthquake presentation with the fire chief at Gulf Elementary School, which happened to be his elementary school when he was growing up. We've done some smoke canvassing like they have in all the other districts. Just a super partner, and I want to appreciate all the events they've gone to teach that hands-only CPR. Some of the benefits from the FOR Bureau, strengthening that community relations. I can tell you, going to these neighborhood councils, talking to all the council people, which definitely having a single point of contact for those offices is definitely a positive for the fire department. They didn't have anyone before. They had the fire chief, the chief of staff up here, but they had no one in the field before. Now that we've been out there, they know who to contact. They know where to go for those individual contacts. We send out a newsletter, and I know a lot of the other bureaus have been sending out newsletters. Great information, great share. All these neighborhood councils publish it on their websites. There's a little sign there where I want to give a little shout out to one of my local companies, 33s. You guys read the story where they saw the woman who was trying to replace the grass in her yard. They went out there and dug it all out for her. Those are the kind of great community things that we need to put in our notebook. Here I had a neighborhood earthquake drill with LAPD. We went out and did that in Councilman Wesson's district. It was about a 6-month preparation. We went out there, watched them do that. Just great results for that. A lot of lessons learned, a lot of take-backs for us to share with other areas of our Bureau. And then interagency relations, and I just want to say that the relationships. All we're doing is we're building a lot of great relationships, and I'll cut it off of that. If you don't have any more questions, that's the end of our presentation.
First, thanks so much for the presentation. I think it's great. Happy to see the discussion of both the accomplishments and some of the challenges that exist. I think thinking back to when we were discussing the adoption of this model, I think one of the main goals of it was to enable our department to build much more consistent relationships in our communities, and so that looks like an unmitigated success there. And certainly I think that's just beginning to start to pay some of the dividends off, whether it's from being able to create some promising practices there that can be exported to some of the other bureaus, or just building community support for the department, which helps us continue to do what we need to do. I think that's great. Clearly, there are some challenges that would naturally pop up as we try something new. As a suggestion, I think now that we've been in practice here has it been a year and a half now that we've been doing this?
Almost 2.
Almost 2 years. So I'd be interested for there to be a conversation around where do we start, where have we come from, and what are some of the changes that would make sense to be thinking about now. I've heard pretty consistently across all 4 bureaus that staffing and span of control remain an issue. I certainly understood why the 24-hour AC has its benefits, but it sounds like that's there certainly are some, as with everything, there are some costs there as well, or cons to that approach. I think that, among a few other things, is probably worth looking at again. So this is not necessarily a charge to you, but more to you and to the entire command staff here. Is I think it would be worth a real look at this point. I think there's enough data and experience out there to put that together and think about how can we build on the successes that we've got and start to address some of the challenges. Clearly some of the challenges are going to be budget related and other things. So it may be sort of long term, but it seems like now would be a great time. I think we've heard from every bureau now, I have some consistent themes I think have started to emerge there among what some of those successes and challenges are. So encourage the chief and the EOPS leadership to start to think about what are some of the things we could be doing to continue to improve upon the 4-bureau model. But I really think there's great work happening out there. I'm always pleased to see new ideas popping up that can be shared, and each one of you brings different strengths to your approaches there that I know that each of you can learn from each other on. So hopefully that's there's some cross-pollination there happening. But yeah, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Nope. So that brings us to the end. We have no public comments, so we could adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. I don't know.